Well, many people turned to religion to help them cope in the days after the 9/11 attacks, and some even chose new faiths, including Islam. That may be no surprise, since a quarter of the estimated 6 million Muslims in the United States are converts. Delia Gallagher looks at two people who chose that path.
Alison Poole says this phrase 3 times in Arabic and then in English.
There is no God but God.
And I bear witness
That Muhammad
is the messenger of God.
And her conversion ceremony is complete. She's now a Muslim.
When I was a child, growing into my teenage years, my very blessed mother, Allah Yarhamha, always talked to me about being attractive. She was very careful about dress and appearance and hair and so forth. And it was only much later that I came to understand that attractive means that you attract like a magnet. And I began to observe what you attract. And there were certain rather key experiences I had that proved to me that wearing a scarf and loose clothing, which is what hijab is, was indeed protection, which is what hijab means. When I was first coming into Islam, I started playing around with a headscarf because I knew this was something that Muslim women did, and I didn't know why, and I didn't know what for. The only way I could find out was to experiment on myself. So I tied it back like this, and then I tied it back like this, and then I put it under like this. I tried different things. What finally convinced me was a particular experience. I was working in publishing then as now, and I had to go and visit a printer in a big printing house in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His office was in the middle of the floor in a kind of glass box, and I was waiting for my appointment. There was another lady sitting with him, and I was watching idly, and I realized that to get whatever she wanted, she was flirting with the guy by shaking her head and twitching her shoulders and batting her eyes and doing all those things that people do. She was doing much more than just business. And I thought to myself very proudly, you know, I'm wearing a scarf, so I don't have this problem. I'm not going to do this. But when she left and I went in to see the man, I was in the middle of talking to him, and I realized that I was going like this, you know, that I was going through all the motions that I would be going through if my hair had been long and down as it always had been. And that all of that, my whole life, had been an unconscious response to talking to a male. At that point, I realized that for a Muslim who is striving to be conscious of Allah, that this sort of unconscious play acting has no place and is useless and is irrelevant, and that there are other ways to get what you want, and that for a woman to work in the world alongside men and other women, it's much more convenient to work as a human being rather than a sexual object. At that point I started wearing a scarf, and I have never not worn it since. And I have found nothing but respect from wearing it. I have never had any problem at all. Maybe a few glances, but compared to the glances I would have gotten of a different sort if I weren't wearing a scarf, it's been nothing.
Thanks. When I walked to school that morning, I became pretty nervous. So I didn't really know what to expect and how I'd react to them or how they'd react to me. When I walked in the door, Sister Irene greeted me.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Témoignages High School.
She gave me the school uniform, the traditional school uniform, which was just a long dress to cover my body, and a hijab, which covered my hair and my neck. When Sister Irene gave me the dress, I was surprised because I had woken up that morning and, you know, picked out my clothing, but what I would normally wear to school or if I was going out. And then when she told me I couldn't wear that, it was really surprising. Hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you? When Miriam walked into the office, she just looked really nice. Now it's my time to meet her, her time to meet me, and I want to make a new friend. When Miriam and I got into her biology class, it was like this whole class of girls, all Muslim girls, and everyone just looked up and stared at me. I felt like the night we were because I was pretending to be a Muslim girl and just walking in and wearing their clothing, just like a tiny outfit. I didn't know how they think about that.
Welcome to the class. We're completing these sheets about bacteria. Okay. If you'd like to join us. Thanks.
She met my teacher, my class.
What happens is that you